I'm having coffee today with Krista van Slingerland and Professor Natalie Durand-Bush. So tell me what's going to happen here.
So this is the home of the Canadian Centre for Mental Health and Sport. We'll be treating athletes and coaches who have mental health challenges or are suffering from mental illness in person, and then we'll also have a telemedicine platform, so we'll be able to actually reach athletes and coaches that are spread across the country.
And how great is the need? Who wants to take this one?
We don't have statistics right now that our research component will allow us to clearly determine that, but as far as what we know, based on research across the world and even anecdotal evidence, is that athletes and coaches are at the same risk as the general population to experience mental illness. So if you take, what's our statistics that we've shared recently, if there's about
7.2 million Canadians engage in sport every year, and 1 in 5 Canadians experience mental illness annually, so it's about
1.4 million could be
impacted
experiencing
on a yearly basis. Yeah.
We don't have anything like this in Canada.
No.
And so where did the idea come from?
There's actually a clinic similar to this in Sweden that we've modeled this one after, but in the Canadian context.
Yeah, it's a colleague of mine through my research program at the University of Ottawa, where I've focused on not only performance but mental health and well-being. I've interacted with people around the world, and this colleague of mine I've done some work with for the past 20 years, and I was aware of what he was doing for mental health in Sweden, so we discussed this at length, and he became one of the stakeholders on this project to help us try to do something similar. It's different because over there it's covered through their public health care, whereas here we don't unfortunately have that opportunity, but at least we know how their team was set up and how they were providing services, and they have this physical location where athletes and coaches can go to receive care, and so that's why we wanted to have a physical space. But as well have that telehealth platform like Krista just mentioned, and I don't think they have that over there. So this is going to be quite unique.
So how is it going to operate?
Well, timely, effective, personalized care that is sport specific, which is what makes our center so unique, the sport specific aspect. So our practitioners have a background in sport and mental health, and we've hand-picked people from across the country who have that dual competency, which is really unique, and it's what sets us apart from other mental health care that's available in our country and around the world, really.
So there's been some gaps in care, I would assume, that you've heard about that we just can't address properly without something like this?
Yeah, just from a lot of discussions and reports from athletes and coaches also saying, what do we do when our athletes start showing these signs? And yes, you can definitely send people to the hospitals. I mean, we have great care here in Canada. It's just the wait lists are very long. I think we hear that in the news all the time. But the other feature is our care is going to be quite flexible in the sense that athletes and coaches are traveling all the time, right? They don't have like a 9 to 5 hour schedule. So while they're on the road, if they're competing on weekends, training during the evening, should anything happen, we will have some of our members of the healthcare team available to provide services. What else is making us quite unique? I think the idea as well, if you compare to traditional healthcare, is like Krista said, our practitioners are very knowledgeable when it comes to competitive sport. So in terms of our evaluations, our assessments, we are going to look in depth into their sport environment, their sport culture, all these sport specific factors that can actually determine the type of care that they should receive, that our traditional system, they wouldn't factor that in.
What are some of the types of stresses or mental health issues that competitive athletes face every day?
I mean, in addition to the stresses that we all face, there are some sport-specific stressors like balancing maybe a work or school with your sport, the just physical fatigue and injury that you have to deal with as an athlete, the time demands of practice, weight training, video, pressure to compete and win. There could be an unhealthy sport environment in terms of coaching or interpersonal relationships with teammates.
You experienced a lot of that, though, Krista, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I've had lots of sports experiences, some positive, some negative, so I've seen both sides.
Did you get the help you needed when you needed it?
Not at first. Eventually, yes. There was a lot of uncertainty, I think, from my teammates and coaches as to what to do and how to help me. The sport system wasn't ready to support me in that time. But I think we're moving closer, and certainly what we're doing here is going to be a big help.
Yeah, one of our streams, or we've talked about setting 3 pillars of success, one of which is community engagement. So we really want to develop resources for the public, so that it could be coaches, it could be parents, it could be sport administrators, it could be just the general allied health professionals, so that they know how to set up the environment to help athletes thrive with or without mental illness.
Tell me about your team, the two of you. Like, how did you come together to come up with this idea and, launch it?
Well, I've been working with Natalie since my master's, so this is going into year 4, and we just have a great partnership.
So Krista came to Ottawa U to play basketball and did her master's degree while doing that. So I was overseeing the research that she was conducting, and we were so thrilled about the research that she did with varsity athletes across Canada that we really wanted to extend that and to take it to another level. And I know that right now in society there's a lot of mental health talk, right? There's all kinds of great initiatives out there, but our aim has been to move to mental health action. That's been driving this whole thing. We really want something tangible, something available, so that athletes can get the care that they need. Because the awareness is there, it's increasing. People want to help, people are recognizing the need, but it's just, where do you go if you really want that sport-specific help? So that was the whole impetus for creating this center, for bringing together all these practitioners from across Canada, and to start providing the care.
And at what stage are you right now?
We're getting close to our launch. So September 7th, we're hosting a launch to introduce Canada to what we've been doing, and we hope to accept referrals starting on September 10th.
And who are you anticipating is going to be referred? And who will you take?
So any athlete or coach 16 years of age or older who are competitive or high performance athletes and who are experiencing mental health challenges, which we will be able to measure at intake.
And the professionals that you brought on board, who are they?
We have, so when you
Yeah.
look at mental health, there's different types of practitioners. They all have different roles, some of which are complementary, some functions are similar, but we have psychiatrists, we have registered psychologists, we have psychotherapists and counselors, and we have mental performance consultants who have that sports science background and training to be able to really help athletes and coaches work on and still focus on their performance goals while trying to better their mental health and well-being.
So Krista, when you were suffering your mental health challenges, would a center like you guys are founding, do you think it would have made a difference to you?
Yeah, I think this just would have been a no-brainer as to where I should go to receive help. It's difficult to navigate our healthcare system. It's fragmented, there are long wait times, but if this center existed, there's no doubt that it would have been a huge help for me.
Okay. So what kind of reaction are you getting to the whole concept?
People are generally thrilled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been really positive. Yeah, I think the sport community, from what we've heard so far, I think is pretty excited. We've talked with people in high performance, you know, at the elite level all the way to the more grassroots level, and I think everyone's excited to see this opening and seeing how it evolves.
And here in Ottawa.
Here in Ottawa.
I think the consensus is that we need something like this.